video as short as possible because I'm dealing with a nasty cold and I'm gonna end up coughing and it's gonna sound nasty in the video, but try to straighten that out a bit. Yeah, so if you saw my short video from yesterday dealing with probably the flu or COVID, I'm not sure which one, I didn't take a test. Sorry, see, it's coming across probably nasty, but woke up yesterday with like 102, 103 fever. I started feeling it on Friday. I was doing some gutter cleaning and I noticed that I was like super winded and having a hard time breathing. Just carrying around like the 32-foot extension ladder and just walking around on roofs and stuff, doing gutter cleaning. I was way winded, and that usually wouldn't make me winded. So I was kind of just starting to feel congested and just achy. So I knew something was coming, but I had to like go home and do some maintenance on the Ram, changing out the fuel filters and stuff. So I did all that and had to build some toys for my kids from Christmas. But by Friday night, I was in pretty rough shape. Saturday morning, woke up at 3 a.m. to go move some loads, and I was like 102 to 103 fever. Definitely did not feel like going to work, but I wanted to make some money, and we have a bunch of trailers that need to be moved. They're closing down a dealership because they bought like 5 other ones. But I think they bought out like a whole nother company. So they want a bunch of trailers, like 85, 88, something like that, trailers moved to other dealerships, ideally by like the new year. Yeah, I gotta have to end this video quick because it's making me cough even more. But I did want to mention that I don't know if I ever posted a follow-up video because I have a couple videos on my phone that I'm just gonna delete about what was wrong with the Ford. Long story short, I ended up replacing the map sensor and the cold side pipe. I did not find any damage on the existing cold side pipe, so I don't think that was it, but I wanted to put a new one on anyway. I don't think the shop that I took it to ever replaced the map sensor like they said they were going to. I think they just cleaned it. 99% sure that was my issue, so I put a new map sensor on when I did the cold side pipe. So I can't really say for sure that it's one or the other than the fact that, like I said, there was no visible cracks or anything in the cold side existing pipe. So I'm 99% sure it was just the map sensor. I don't know why they didn't replace it. They were supposed to replace it. I'm pretty sure they just cleaned it and threw it back on. But I was chasing my tail trying to figure out what was wrong with the truck. Like I said, I replaced that map sensor and the truck's been running perfectly ever since. So pretty frustrating, but glad that it's working. No issues. The truck's had 227,000 miles on it. The Ram's been running mostly the RV transport loads. My buddy running, and then I've been running a few here and there. So, but now my work is pretty much done for a while. Get a couple warm days. I've got a handful of gutter cleanings I gotta knock out still. But if I wasn't feeling so sick yesterday and today, I would be doing gutter cleaning. But it'd just be exhausting trying to move the ladder around. I'd be coughing like crazy. So have my guys doing gutter cleaning. Kind of sucks because I would make easily twice as much money working for myself, but again, it's just, and I'm not trying to kill myself. The RV transport is a lot less physical, so headed now to go move another trailer. I'm only gonna have time to move one, so I gotta be home. My wife's got plans, so I'm gonna go move a trailer. Luckily, this dealership's not far from my house, so I can grab one and move it to one of the close locations to be home, all within like 5 hours. And then may stop home for a little bit, let her do her thing, and then I may run out and do another one or so. But yeah. Well, I wanted to mention also that just because I used to have a fourth gen Ram a few years back. Probably been about 4 years now. But you always hear that the Rams are easier to work on, yada yada yada. I'll say for basic maintenance, the Ford is way easier to work on. Doing the fuel filters, doing the oil changes, so much easier on the Ford. The placement of the oil filter in the Ram is absolutely terrible in the wheel well like that. So hard not to make a huge mess, and really hard to just get a tool in there to loosen the oil filter. So you gotta really be aware of how tight you're making it. Fuel filter, like the engine bay fuel filter is placed like way further down in the Ram. I do like that they have like a pressure release on there and drain out some of the fuel. And then like the one that's on the frame rail is way up high, like by the exhaust or drive shaft. I don't remember which one it is. And the design of it's so stupid, where you have, like, I ordered a special tool, special wrench, because A, it's plastic, and then also you can't put like a normal tool on there because they have the water separator drain valve right on the spot where the wrench goes, and a sensor. So it's like, you know, I do remember now, I was getting flashbacks like about how easily you can strip that out or crack it if you don't have the right tool. So the Ford is just like, I think 6 bolts for the frame. You drop it down, pull the filter out, put a new one in, pop it back in, tighten up the bolts, bam. I will say this crankcase ventilation filter on the Ram is a lot easier to replace. Air filter is the same on either one, doesn't really matter. So I'll definitely give the Ram the crankcase vent, and I would say I think the Ram is a little bit easier to change out, like the cabin air filter. So but yeah, that's I was pretty frustrated working on the oil change and the fuel filters on that truck. Just a lot harder to do. And obviously I do them myself to try to save money because we're doing them so often. But other than that, I ordered Timbrins for the Ford because it doesn't have bags or anything. The Ram has airbags. So on some of the, like even my personal travel, or my personal fifth wheel, the Ford sags a bit. So I ordered Timbrins, and I saw a video I think on YouTube where a guy ordered F250 Timbrins for his 350 because it would make for an unloaded ride a little better, but still add some support. And it was like almost like, I want to say $150 cheaper or something like that for the 250 ones. So I actually went that route, give that a try. Because I didn't want to create like a much harsher ride unloaded, but I wanted that extra support when I've got my fifth wheel on, or some of these bigger fifth wheels, park models, stuff like that. So I haven't put those on yet. They just showed up I think Friday. I'm not sure I'm going to get to it today. As you can tell, the weather is pretty crappy and I don't feel good, but I am going to try to put those on. And then hoping sometime in the sometime around New Year's, maybe after New Year's, take the Ram to Indiana, and I'm gonna go with Dan's Hitch to get a fuel transfer tank put in, auxiliary tank. I think they quoted me like $12.90 all in for a 60-gallon auxiliary. So the Ram's got a factory 32-gallon, so it'll have like 92 gallons total, which for what we do is more than enough. Probably able to run 2 full loads off a tank. But it's gonna allow for to, capitalize on cheaper fuel up in Wisconsin. Most of our deliveries are up in Wisconsin, and fuel's typically like 50 to 60 cents a gallon cheaper in Wisconsin than it is in Illinois or Indiana. So it's going to allow us to capitalize on better fuel cost, so more profitability, and minimizing stops. With 32 gallons, a lot of our loads we can probably fill up in like Indiana, make delivery, and make it back home off one tank plus filling up once. But that leaves you in a situation where you kind of get stuck in a situation where you're always filling up in Indiana or something. Now with an auxiliary tank, it's going to allow for, like I said, capitalizing on filling up in Wisconsin where it's cheaper, and then minimizing stops. I've said it many times in other videos that like every single time that you stop, it's like 20 minutes. Doesn't seem like it should be, but by the time you exit the highway, fill up the truck, get back on the highway. Also, like if you run in to use the bathroom, grab a drink or food, you can easily be at like 30 minutes. And that adds up over the course of a week. You're easily losing like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on what you do when you stop, how quickly you do everything. Sometimes you're waiting at the truck stops because there's a line backed up with truckers. It's just not an ideal situation. So it's definitely going to help with the Ram. The Ford's got a factory 48-gallon tank, and I haven't felt the need to add a transfer tank. However, I may add one depending on how much I like the one that we're gonna put in the Ram. I've always wanted to leave the bed of the Ford available because I wanted to get a golf cart for camping, which I haven't done, and now that I have a fifth wheel, I can't put it in the bed anyways. But we're kind of thinking about doing like a permanent site at a campground, and if that's the case, then I definitely would get a golf cart. So we'll see. But like I said, if it's super convenient, super nice to have the one from Dan's Hitch, I could add the 60-gallon to the Ford, and then I would have like 108 gallons in the Ford, which even like every year we do a pretty long trip. We're trying to make it a every year thing. We started it last year where we took the family and we went like Kentucky, or no, we went Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, back home. So having like a transfer tank in a situation like that would be pretty awesome because I would minimize my stops. And as you know, sometimes depending on where you're at, it could be fairly inconvenient to fill up if you've got a 42-foot fifth wheel on. So you can minimize your stops and capitalize on lower fuel costs and just easier situations to be in. That would be helpful. But that's gonna be it for this video. As you can see, the weather's crappy, but happy to have the Ford running right. In the comments, let me know if you know of a better place than like Dan's Hitch. I call it Dooley Depot, Dan's Hitch, and one other shop in Elkhart, and Dan's was the cheapest and really convenient. They said they just text us and we'll get you in get you in and out in like 2 hours. So I think they were cheaper than like Dooley Depot by about 150 bucks. So I don't always like to go with the cheapest, but I've bought stuff from Dan's Hits before and been happy. Bought batteries there, and the service has been good and everything. So no reason not to go to them. And if they are the cheapest, then I just know that, you know, a lot of people say that those shops are ripping people off, but I don't know, I thought that it was pretty fair. But if you want to leave me a comment if there's somewhere else that you know that I can take it to that's, you know, in Chicagoland or Indiana, that can do it for the same price or better and better service or something, let me know. Apologize again for the coughing. I'm not feeling great, so hopefully it's not too annoying when it comes over the video. And that's about all I got.